And I don't know if something is up with Zoom here or update or whatever, but it won't allow me to pick an application. I had to show a screen. There were no applications available to share. Let's see what happens when you do it. There's something up with my computer. Your voice came very garbled. All right. What a day yesterday. Blast off. You know what? Writing the weekend letter, I said this market needs to break out to new all-time highs early in the week. What? I didn't really think it would do it on Monday. I figured it might go up, but that's what it should do. But just coming out of the blocks and shooting right up above the high there. Impressive. So new all-time highs after a deep retracement, taking out the prior area of major support, didn't close underneath it, didn't get to the 50 MA, looking at the futures here, of course, and right back up to new all-time highs. So factory work. What do we do? Well, it's back to an uptrend. It's now a greater than 100% retracement, which MTS suggests there should be a stall in momentum. It was a wide range bar, which also leads to that thought. It's got darn near close to 4,500. We know that those call options shifted. Well, this is the futures, not SPX. We'd have to look at SPX because those call options are on SPX, not the futures. But this got darn near close to that whole number. Looks like a little less than 10 handles to get there. So, going up there this morning, some sell orders ahead of that number, and you can see the little breakout failure that occurred. And that's a 90-minute because we were looking at extra information yesterday, so I switched it. Something going on here. No, not much different. But this is what the time frame that we look at each day. So we'll stick that up there. So a breakout failure, back in again, hasn't violated the trend on the hourly, but it points to some consolidation. Well, the message here, wide range bar, greater than 100% retracement, coming up to a whole number, a little resting period. Do buyers look to run, thinking this is the end of the move? Well, we don't know yet. Let's see what today brings. And breaking below here, let's just shift this over here. See where it goes into the prior day. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1, 2, 3. So this was the beginning of yesterday, coming right out of an end of day base, blast off, and some resting overnight, and then the breakout. And so coming below here opens the door to a move down to here, but it shouldn't do that. Right? In an uptrend and a wide range bar, even though we expect a stall in momentum, our expectation or bias to maintain the strength that we've just seen is for prices to at least close in the upper 50%, ideally up in the upper third. So that gives us guidelines. Now, even if we were in a swing trade here and not in front of our screens during the day, that alone would be helpful information as a swing trader, not looking at our screens to just set an alert at the 50% level and, clicking on our phone and, we know what's going on if things are getting a little too bearish, if it goes down that far, but where it closes is the key. And so we can have a tail down here, but as long as the opening closes are in the upper third, we still view that as maintaining, bullish price action. SPX, how far did it get? Close with a little tail on the top there. And let me see where the spiders are. 447.90. Up near yesterday's high. Kind of just inside trading there. 447 down back up again. Kind of running in place here, pre-market going nowhere. So it's a little short-term extended, right? No one argue with that. There's an unfilled gap down here. And so there was this gap and go. I don't know why there's no tail over here. This tail doesn't make sense. 441, because that didn't come down there. That looks like it's erroneous data, and there's no tail over here either. So I just gap up and it rallied up above the high, turns the trend back up. We'll see where it stays, somewhere in here. And I didn't mean to click that. So this will be opening up somewhere around here. Same story. It's had a heck of a run over the few days. It's opening up here. Maybe one last gasp to 4,500. Right now things are rather neutral. We see the futures had a little breakout failure on the S&Ps. Same story with the NASDAQ futures there in wide range bar, just clearing those highs like this congestion area didn't even exist, as if it was a void. It just went through it. Impressive. Now, we did mention yesterday this bullish reaction, that bottoming tail bar that took out the lows. And so the concept of a wide range bar and the candle body staying in the upper 50%, but a tail occurring that then the body, the open and close is still up there. It's a shakeout, correction bar. And it followed through yesterday. And so now, you can just shift this up there. There's nothing up there. So this week's low now becomes a critical point. It should never go down. It should never go back there. All right. It should never go there. By the end of the week, we shouldn't see a bar that closes below it. We should see, if anything, we should see some consolidation. Well, not this week, Rich. All right. And so I'll put that in context. It should never go down there this week. Right. Because of what preceded it, a consolidation. In other words, a resting period that resulted in an attempt to go down, and buyers stepped up, right? Afghanistan, China, Delta virus, president has brain damage. Who cares? Just buy it, right? There's liquidity there. Who cares? Let the world come to an end. Buy the dip. And so this is bullish. Don't go down there. Do not close down there. If anything, extend your gain a little further because of the time of this resting period, which is relatively large. All right. So while we see the FANGs were under some distribution, there's other stocks that are begun to bring up the rear, and the trend is up. All right. So now, well, major support is down here. It should never go down there. Right? If it's going to dip, right, intraday, buyers should show up there. And if it does, they should step up and buy it aggressively. In reality, it should not go down there. Right? While there's nothing here to the left, in some way, shape, or form, this should create support within this bar's range. We'll see how it plays out. We've already got one pivot, but it's a deep retracement and a breakout failure. So a little uncertainty this morning amongst buyers to continue to buy aggressively, which is normal. What are interest rates doing? Up, flat, right? Yesterday we said, as long as they don't go down, they just hang out here. The market will be okay with that. So that was a non-event. The Russell participated, came up to the 20, it's up at resistance there. So an improvement, was down at the bottom of the range. And so surviving for now. We'll see. It's got a lot of overhead resistance there. We'll see what it does. And when we look at these, we always look at the regional banks, how are they doing? And so there was a lot of damage last week in that strength. There was lots of these deep retracements that came right back in. And we do have like a little sell set up there. So that's not a plus for a Russell, but what I would suggest you do is set an alert up here. And if it gets up there, you can see that, well, things are changing. That sell setup might just result in a measured move higher. We're always looking for the bullish as well as the bearish side. Oil and natural gas is another relatively large part of the Russell, and this is bouncing back up. Here's your greater than 100% retracement concept, and maybe it's a breakdown failure. The EMC is shaping up interestingly on this pullback on the weekly, forming this little hook type of a pattern, and pivots building up. So whatever, junk company or not, the pattern is supportive of somebody's buying it, thinking that it's going to go higher from here. Just looking at the Russell futures. Up here a little bit, coming off of the low nicely. Same little breakout failure there. Everything at the same time. And the Dow now lagging. Remember, it was leading on the way here. And then this was what we saw last week. And everything was like poised to take off and down. And S&P's made a new high. Q's made a new high. The Dow is now lagging. Same breakout failure over here. Hasn't broken through the low. Overall, it's maintaining this bullish pattern on the weekly time frame. So this looks like at this point now, at the end of the day, this will become a pivot. We got a pivot here, pivot here. We start to trading range now in development mode, unless like the S&Ps and the Qs can pop to make a new all-time high. The transports didn't participate all that much, but so far maintaining this weekly consolidation, and so neutral to somewhat bullish, since it is an uptrend on the weekly time frame. It's just had a deeper retracement, and notice the breakdown here that failed in consolidating. So set an alert, top of the range, set alert, bottom of the range, and move on. Just be aware. And Bitcoin taking a little rest, kind of pushing up, but it has been up multiple weeks in a row, bumping its head on 50,000. I wouldn't be surprised to see it pull back. Let's see how much this thing really stalls here, but you can see the huge improvement through the eyes of the moving averages. It started here where we talked about, a retest of a pivot, and it moved up, and bottoming patterns are, I like to say, treacherous, because they are, because they look great. And these types, where they first take out this pivot, they often come right back down, and then it made a new low and it popped back up in the retest. And this is where we said, this is where it's got a shot, as it's built up this big base. So big whole number. There isn't much to the left here, but it is up multiple weeks in a row. But look at the moving averages. Some look at them in an absolute sense. We look at them as we call visual aids. So, the 50 is the same as the 10 on the weekly. This is the same as, near about the same as the 10 on the monthly. So viewing them in this way, we can see multiple time frame improvement that's occurred here after this correction. And what it should do clearly is hold this level. Right? Well, somewhere in here, the more bullish it is, it'll stay, let's say above this 47,500 level, give or take, and should not go back down here. So as a common sense rule to MTS is, once you've cleared the prior swing high, don't go back down to the prior swing low, because if you do, it puts the trend in question. More common sense. Gold will push up there. Oh, quite a mess to the left. And silver, kind of like that as a possible catch-up trade. Doing well here this morning. We'll take a look. It is at that pivot high, and it is in a downtrend, but it's also on the weekly chart down at the bottom of major support. So something for us to consider and look at some of these silver stocks again, see if they can have a little counter trend move, since we've got this W set up here. And I think that's about it. USO, oil come down a lot. That big pop up there. So coming into this week, we had some uncertainty about a rollover. From the bullish point of view, I said it's got to make new all-time highs early in the week. It did that yesterday, like it was 1999, and things are looking good. Let's see how far they can go. All yours, Dan. See what McGraw's question was. Sorry, McGraw. How far up was it? Greg, see. QQQ levels. Well, it's at new all-time highs. As I said, it should hold here. There's nothing below. So I don't know. It's bullish. Buyer, if this dips, McGraw, buyers should show up at a minimum here. But they just based on the strength of this move, the thing to do here is wait. All right. Where did they dip down to? Let me just see. 370, 350, 370, 350. Right. So no big deal. So if we go, going to the day chart somewhere in here, let's assume it pulls back. It should create a pivot. And then the safest bet, higher probability bet, is to let it retest that pivot and then go long. Now, it's up a bunch several days in a row, so I don't think it's going to fly today. But let's see. Put spreads on XOP. Yeah, I think you could do that. I mean, you know the story. How far away can you get? It is at support on the weekly, so it makes sense to me. Sure.
All right, there's a few adjustments there. Opens are fine. Yeah, we were saying it looked like yesterday was a Pfizer party and reopening stocks again. I mean, there's definitely, in my opinion, going to be a lot more mandating of the vaccine now that it's fully approved. Pfizer, we mentioned this would be a great credit spread because, all, people tell me who haven't been trading a while, damn, why on earth would you sell a credit spread on that? Well, because we're pattern traders. The chart says that all the good news is baked in. I mean, what do you think the odds of this going over 52 are? Could it do it? Of course it can. But under yesterday's low, looks like a short-term top. It's just there was not good enough premium. I was going to put this in the weekend letter as a put spread, LBS, climactic, daily, weekly. I love the volume here. So we like volume on igniting and turns. And here's a great example of a turn. Here's actually an igniting one over here on that sell-off bar. This picked up in volume, maybe an attempted turn, but it failed. So when Win, another hotel. That's actually a nice pre-market. Gapping up over $3 though. Yeah, see the gap's too big to resistance, but that had a nice day yesterday. I'm gonna keep an eye on CCL here. We tried buying it right here on this breakout in earlier August, and it couldn't do it. But it's shaping up again. No rush. Jets still lagging though. That looks like it made a new low. You still got declining 2050, so that sector needs some work. But let's scan the leisure sector later when we have time. So that would have things like, Six Flag, Seas, all that kind of stuff. If the reopening play is going to go. Another theme today is there's good news in the Chinese stocks. And I don't know why, but so Greg, look at this. We came so close to giving a put spread on this yesterday. Volume, climactic, far from the 20, bottoming tail, closing near the high. And we decided to wait for today, just to avoid one more night of gap risk in all these stocks. Here's KWeb. Getting a nice bounce. So we can, Baidu, same, gapping up 150. We can watch the whole sector later. Sam, LSID, still not crazy about it. It is at the 200, but is gapping up. But look at all that resistance on the 15-minute chart. You got 1, 2, 3. I'm not crazy about that. CPOP, just saw this little guy going by the ticker. Remember this thing went IPO recently here? That almost looked like a Reddit out of the gate squeeze. My gosh. And then it's been in a coma. Let's keep an eye on it. Maybe it's going to come back to earth. PANW. Wow, that's a big gap. Capping up all-time highs. That's an excessive gap. Anybody who was shorting into that earnings report is not having a good time today. YY. Here's another good one on, volume. But notice pickup in volume on the climactic buy setup. Then you had a doji bar, inside bar, whatever. And then this is now igniting volume. See? So that confirmed the bounce. Gapping up here. I don't know, you might get a day trade if it sets up. Sava, is this a buyout? Sava Sciences, 11.8, so it's not earnings. But nice little buy setup here. Repaired a lot of that damage, deep retracement, and this is a good retracement concept. This is nasty, greater than 100%, then 60%, right? And now less than 40% from here to here, and a bullish turn on support. So that actually was a very nice setup. And let's keep an eye on Sava. NRZ, bottoming pattern, gapping up here to 1024. I don't know, I'm not crazy about the target. Snap, McGraw, you were asking me about, and we found this yesterday when we were scanning, but there was no premium for a put spread for next week. At home, there's the bottom, potential bottoming pattern. It's still in a very bearish downtrend, but nice gap up today. Might get a day trade out of it. It has earnings tomorrow, though, I noticed. Medtronic here, I have it in the middle window, gapping up over this red bar on earnings. So 15-minute high. Let's maybe sell a put spread. Bottoming pattern and T-com we're in is having a nice gap up. That looks great. I said yesterday it looked like a good ad. Holex was on our list from yesterday. Let me set an alarm at 77.70. And I already have it there. Perfect. PDD, that's another one of those Chinese things bouncing, but no pattern. PW looked at Riot. No pattern in these. Oh, Riot had earnings. Riot had earnings today. There's no pattern. GSM, no pattern, just trading range, swapping around like a fish out of water. All right, I can't tell where you're gapping. It's a buy setup on support in the 50, but it's a deep retracement. I have no idea where it's opening though. Let's keep an eye on that. Beaky, possible bottoming pattern. You know, here's what Greg teaches, a moving average divergence. You can just see the distance from the 20 MA to these prior highs is getting tighter, right? And then it made a new low and went nowhere. So it's a potential bottoming pattern. It's worth watching. Tighter here. Could bounce, but that's just what I call dumpster diving. It's a bounce on a downtrend. AAP. AAP had earnings, I guess. I don't know what to do with that, but it could 30-minute low go lower. Team, our up alarm. We're long this and short put spread. Now we can move the stop. I'm gonna give it a little bit more under this and just round, you know, down under 349. So how about 348.88?